everybody, it's Calxiyn here. If you guys enjoyed this video, you guys should become patrons over on Patreon or join our Discord server. So today, we are talking about Raven's sword and its symbolism.
Oh boy. So not for nothing, right? Like, I work at essentially a candy store. You have a big-ass thing of jubes, and some people are just like, I only want the red ones, and I'm like, we have finish berries, that's basically the same thing. But then you are like, I bought you some gummy worms, but you don't like the yellow ones?
No.
And I'm like, are you the type to be particular about this sort of thing?
I only like red things.
Really?
Yeah. Anyway, so can we talk about Raven's sword, which is also red?
Oh, yeah, look at that.
Anyways. So this is from Blood of Branwen. Their link will be in the description. This isn't a paid Patreon video. Crazy, I know. Anyway.
Hey, man.
Given recent events of the final, we've come to see how extremely fragile Raven actually is, both in her combat style and the way that she wields the maiden magic. The magic. Raven uses almost exclusively ice, electricity, and wind. Now, all these are extremely lethal on their own, but ice in particular, while deadly, is fragile. Drop an ice cube from any height.
No. It doesn't shatter like glass. What are you kidding? Ice is pretty strong.
I wasn't done yet.
It's in the Spider-Man song.
Drop an...
Strong as ice. I mean, it throws up somewhere.
Drop an ice cube from any height, and it will most likely fracture or break.
Okay, maybe a little bit. But, like, it's still pretty... But, like, why was Spider-Man, like, strong as ice or something?
Because people don't understand ice.
Listen, motherfucker, I'm certain that...
This can be a metaphor for Raven's cold and ruthless persona, as a ruthless, bitter, as lethal as ice can be, but apply pressure to the ice under the right circumstances and it'll fall to pieces, which I would say is
Just
accurate.
Squeeze ice.
Why not?
Give it a good squeeze.
Raven's sword. It's been established since Volume 1 and Episode 2 that weapons are an extension of a person's personality or being. In Raven's words, they're an expression of the huntress and huntsman themselves as a part of them. Now, if one observes carefully through their fight with Cinders, Raven's sword is constantly shattering, and her swords are under way too much pressure or strength. In a way, this is a perfect expression of Raven herself, given how fragile she is and how easily broken she was by a few choice words from Yang.
Well, I mean, to be fair, that is your estranged daughter. You do feel useless.
That's the point.
Oh, yeah.
Is that her weapon represents?
There's a lot of context behind that, but no, I agree.
Her sword is constantly being destroyed and she has to draw a new one each time. In a way, it symbolizes all the excuses she's made for herself. Every time one is picked apart by an outsider, Raven just conjures up another one to justify herself and moves on without really addressing it. But that final scabbard, like her excuse, is finite. Raven is physically strong, but as a person, she's also despicably weak. Eventually, she'll run out and have to deal with the consequences. So, sort of like running out of her storm and stuff, or sword or stuff like that. So, I think that this is very fitting, right? Especially the part about ice, because I think that ice does represent like a coldness in personality. And obviously, you have someone like Raven, or someone like Cinder, I should say, who uses fire to destroy, right? But ice is something that isn't necessarily something like that destroys things. It builds. You know, if you think about like ice sculptures or like igloos or, you know, stuff like that. Like ice is a building force.
Snow, but who am I to
Yeah,
judge?
exactly. And so you have sort of that confliction too, that Raven is not someone who is necessarily trying to destroy, that she wants to build a better life for herself somewhat. Instead of siding with Ozpin, and so I think that ice metaphor works in more ways than one. But what do you think, Hunter?
For the ice metaphor?
I guess, like, just all of the things together, because I think that the sword shattering is the most important for me, because it's almost like Raven is trying to always find a new, like, way to handle things.
The way her semblance works, the way her running away works is I mean, it's her semblance, but she uses, like, a slash
Well, semblance, we've also heard, right, that like from Ren, that they can't, like, people think that they're personality based, but there's no hard science for that yet. You know what I mean? And so I think that that's pretty interesting that Raven's character has been constructed in this sort of way. Because again, I think that the sword thing, I don't know, for me it's really just really meaningful because it is sort of like, you know, one sword cracks under the pressure, so she always needs to have another. There always needs to be another plan another, like, way to run, you know what I mean? Like, I feel like she's been doing a lot of running and a lot of planning. You know what I mean? Like, Vernal, right? Like, that, Vernal was a sword, right? And Vernal shattered and she had to think of another plan. You know what I mean? Or even starting before that, the Spring Maiden was a sword, but the Spring Maiden shattered. And so she thought of another plan. That plan was Vernal, but Vernal shattered, and so she had to think of one last plan. That freezing Cinder, maybe, was a plan, and that plan also will shatter if Cinder is still alive. You know, and it's about, there always needs to be another plan, there always needs to be something else that I can do to survive, and it's breaking under that pressure each time, but each time there's another and another, and she doesn't seem to run out for a while, but then I think the poster makes a good point, eventually she will run out. You know what I mean? I feel like, I don't know, that just hits me somewhere. You know what I mean? Like, that has meaning for me, if that makes sense. You know what I mean? Like, not, like, as a personal thing, like, nothing weird like that.
Okay, I was about to say,
no,
like,
no.
in what ways are you a sword, Cal?
No, but I mean,
is
like...
your YouTube life as difficult as,
Maybe.
I don't know, a strange daughter protecting a group of murderous looters and running away from a genocidal supernatural power? Is that something that you deal with on a regular basis?
Yeah, obviously. So, yeah, so, Hunter, do you want to just...
So I can tell.
I was trying to take a drink, and Hunter was just, like, not helping me out.
Because for a second I thought you were just like, I've given up on making a video. You do the work, and I'm like, nah, for nothing, right? But I didn't realize you were.
I'm just losing my voice, sorry. Anyway, but yeah, I think that it does give a lot of meaning to her character, and some, you know, like, we rap on Miles. Rap?
Rip on?
Rip?
Rag on?
Rag on. Okay, we rip on Miles and carry
not
a lot.
Definitely not.
We rap on Miles and carry
That's also,
a lot.
rap on sounds like we're on like a rap battle, like it's a fucking cipher. And No? Okay.
We rag on Miles and carry a lot.
Well, thank you for finally agreeing with me.
But I think that this is a place where they really had put a lot of thought into it, and if not them, it was probably something that Monty had decided previous.
Or maybe
Raven was in Volume 2.
To what degree do you think like metaphors are just pure dumb luck?
It depends on the metaphor.
Because some metaphors,
okay, so this is a personal anecdote.
Have you thought this out entirely?
But, do you remember when I was writing my first book? I don't know if Hunter was around for that.
No, I wasn't.
My very first book.
Anyway,
I had
I digress.
notations for what each metaphor meant.
Oh, fuck, yeah, no, I was around for that. And it was more notations than there was, like, actual book. And I'm like, you're so into your own shit. Get over yourself. It's obnoxious. Anyways,
and so
continue.
I would, like, purposely make a metaphor and then put the meaning beside it.
Oh, fuck me. And, like, it was...
It wasn't a bad idea. Annotations are good if you're writing. But maybe if you're writing to remind you of, like, what
but it was like,
mean
but then
something.
you were talking about where it was like, and then when it's being taught in high school classes everywhere, and I'm like, alright, Cal, get over yourself. Not to be mean or anything. I'm sorry.
They're teaching the hate you give. Anything can happen.
The
hate you give is actually
The hate
a
you
good
give
book.
got banned in a bunch of school.
Yeah, they
because
did
of black
that.
kids saying the F word. Just, yeah, it's a mixture.
On that, my school had I'm gonna just say the word. My school had a problem with, like, saying the word fag all the time.
What do you mean?
Like, that my particular grade or my particular school, like, that was, like, people love to say faggot all the time.
Well,
like, despite us having, like, gay kids
everywhere.
in the class. And so, when I was talking to my mom about
the
the book thing, like, the like, how the book is being banned, I'm like, the same kids that their parents don't want them to hear the word fuck are probably saying slurs. And they're probably saying worse slurs than
like,
that. You know what I mean?
I think there's like the American Library Association or whatever. They have a list of the top 10 banned books.
Yeah.
And like without fail, it'll either be 1, like, gay characters, 2 characters of color. It's usually they be based around them. Like the Kite Runner and
yeah, and not to get too, like, distracted, but I think that this does fit
what
in
the
with.
fuck are we talking
I mean,
about
this does fit in with RWBY to an extent, and
I feel
will
like you're just
connect
really
back.
trying too hard to
No,
bump
I
up
will.
that like
I
that
do
10-minute mark now, pal.
I do want to connect that this sort of like this like a similar issue, let's say, like to RWBY and censorship and all that. But yeah, like I'm just like I'm pretty mad about that entire story because like your kids are watching porn. They are probably saying the N-word if you don't hear them say it already. They are probably also saying what I already said. My school had a big problem again, like
every school does.
with
it's just a
calling people
hideous
faggots.
shit
Like
that we
I know,
have
like
in our
each
society.
like school has their own like slang, right? And so my elementary school had an issue.
You know, yeah, we're the Notre Dame. What's Notre Dame's home?
That
home,
was
home field
was our
slur?
high school. But no, that I meant our elementary school because like you
Do
would
you
have been
remember-
12 in elementary
Do
school.
you remember what
No,
Notre Dame's
stop, I'm not-
nickname was?
Yeah, and I
Oh,
don't
that was-
like that. Anyways, so that's the
fuck high school,
problem.
man. Oh, it was the worst.
And so you guys may be like, what the fuck are they talking about? Like, how does this relate? But I think
don't know,
that
Cal. What the fuck are we talking about? Wasn't this about swords or
it
some
was,
shit?
and I'm saying that I think that the censorship issue does have to do with RWBY a lot.
How
that I
so?
think that they could put that, not to say they're scared necessarily, but they still need to be a kids show, and they've done a lot of things that haven't been kids show friendly. But I think that like with a lot of the stuff that they're trying to do, they do need to put it in extended metaphor, like weapons and stuff like that. You understand what I mean? Because I think that certain
They're
topics.
not allowed to have. They're not allowed to have someone scream.
Let
like,
Raven
racial
say fuck. No,
like
I'm not
racial
saying.
insanity. So they're like, yeah, let's have people have
I'm
kitty
not.
ears.
I'm not saying like that. I'm saying that
And
like
thus the fantasy metaphor
with
for
Raven
racism
and
exists.
her like sort of being a, you know, like a deadbeat mom and all of that stuff, like the kind of person that she is to an extent, that needs to be more reflected in her weapons, because yes, they will go into it, but at the same time, you can't go into it on a level where parents would necessarily be uncomfortable. And I don't think that Rooster Teeth
Because
necessarily
it's not the kids who complain
cares.
and
Yeah,
give a
and it's
shit.
never
always the fucking
it's never
parents.
the kids, right? And so I think that like if you go too deep into the deadbeat thing, like or if you go too deep in Yang's parental abandonment, like some parents are gonna be like, well, kids shouldn't see this, like they shouldn't know that some people's parents abandoned them, because people like to get offended over everything. That's the thing. And so that's what I'm kind of saying, is that not just with Raven, but with
like,
all
not
the other
even-
characters, like their personalities need to be reflected into their weapons for people to sort of find it, because not everything will make it into the show. Like not everything is necessarily able to get into the show, because there are crazy people that will, you know, kind of try to shut them down for certain
Do you really
things
think
that they
there's
say.
gonna be like
And I know,
a
like,
RWBY
I know that
boycott?
may be like a bit of a stretch, but like
it's not gonna be like Harry Potter, like a bunch of religious people were against that.
yeah, and I know it's not going to
The
be like a
90s.
majority of people, but I feel like those same, and I hate using this word, so I'm sorry, but I feel like those same triggered people are one day going to say the same thing about RWBY, and so that's why they try to do a lot of subtle metaphor
God damn
in,
it.
you know, in the weapons and
Honestly,
all of that
I'm
stuff.
disappointed that you couldn't find a theory that would last you longer than 4 minutes, so we wouldn't have to bring up this topic, Cal.
What do you mean? This was a complete accident. I didn't know you were going to start talking about this.
I didn't start talking about it. You started talking about it.
I started talking about my book, and then you started talking about banned books. Isn't that how we got here?
I think.
Oh no, it's because I said that I'm like Angie is getting taught in schools and she's a new writer.
Yeah,
and so
but then
I
she
may
also
be like
got,
that
yeah,
one day,
you're
and then you
responsible.
said that she would get banned. So
She
this is
won.
all
She
your
did
fault.
get. Same shit happened to John Green.
I know,
Fucking
and
looking
I'm
for
saying-
Alaska
yeah,
got
I
kicked
know,
out.
and I'm
That's
saying-
happening to
I'm
Tom
saying
Sawyer
that you
and
did it.
and like
That it was your fault because you're the one who brought up the entire band thing. But whatever.
Shit's
Censorship
happen-
and RWBY's important.
it's happening to Tom
And-
Sawyer and Huck and Mockingbird and Trump
The
got
weapons-
elected. We're all coming racist. Shit's terrible. Oh my god, what am I doing?
the weapons are a way for
Let's have some gummy worms.
the weapons are a way for you to convey certain things about the character that you wish you could go into, but maybe today is not your day. You know what I mean? And I feel like Raven, it's sort of like that. That they've gone to a point where I think that they've gone far enough with, like, Yang's abandonment issues that if they go anymore, the show's gonna get too, depressing, and then people's parents will, like, yell at them or something, like, weird. You know, like, I'm not saying that would gain any traction, but I'm saying there are weird people out there. You know? And so it is connected. I made it connected. I'll desperately make it connected.
I don't think they're weird. I just think they're misinformed and,
well, yeah,
reactionary.
I agree with you, but I'm saying that, like...
To simplify
RWBY will have its time when people act that way towards it. And so this is a good way to kind of give clues to us, the audience, without, you know, pissing everybody off. You know what I mean? And so, yeah, sorry for that tangent, but I think it is connected, and I do want to talk more about censorship in RWBY, but this isn't...
Or just censorship in general, because I feel like RWBY...
Censorship's a big time.
I think, like, RWBY's, like, less in danger than stuff like, you know, Tom Sawyer and Mockingbird.
Yeah, I know. Anyways,
I digress.
Do you mean, like, To Kill a Mockingbird?
Yeah.
Okay. Just wondering. I thought you meant Mockingjay.
It's always...
Like the Hunger Games.
It's never, like, it's always the fucking books that are, like, racism is bad that they're like, let's get this fucker off the
that's
shelf.
America. I don't know what to say. But yeah, I think that, like, that's another thing.
That's Canada,
and I'd like
too.
to talk about it in another video.
There was like a...
if, God. If they get too deep with the faunus stuff, will people start trying to get mad at them and, like, sort of things like that. But I think that, like, starts at, like, the deadbeat parents and then it goes all the way to
People have
racist,
gotten mad
right?
that they're not,
with
diving more into the race, or at least doing the race better.
I know, but, like, that's the non-crazy people, but there are the crazy people, right? Anyway. Yeah, and so, like, I don't know. You just gotta be careful nowadays,
and like
I guess.
A 4-minute video became a 14-minute video.
It would have been longer
than
that
The oil
anyway.
burned in the lamp for 2 days when it was only supposed
awful.
to last for a day. I don't think that's how Hanukkah works.
Oh my god, I hate you so much. This is all your fault anyway. Like, now I feel like I'm not gonna upload this because I feel like it's garbage, and now you're looking at me weird. Anyway, if you guys enjoyed this video... Somehow, you guys should.
Oh, fuck that! We're doing it. Come
patrons on our Patreon or join our Discord server. So yeah, that's all I have to say.
I still want this.
Bye, guys.